Hello, this is John Miller, the creator of this podcast. Now, the rest of Everest is probably the most in-depth look at just what it takes to climb the world's highest peak. But keep in mind that it is a series. And if you're checking out the podcast for the first time, do yourself a favor, go back to episode 0 and watch everything in order. That's really the right way to enjoy it. Thanks so much.
What are we going to do tonight?
Okay. So I know all of you enjoy following me on my adventures to the other side of the planet, but there are plenty of adventures to be had here in the USA. Back in September, before I needed to have back surgery, I went on a fun trip with fellow podcaster Chris Marquardt from Tips from the Top Floor to Utah to show him and his girlfriend Rebecca the wonders that exist in Canyonlands National Park, one of my favorite places in this or any hemisphere. Chris and Rebecca live in Germany, so they had never seen anything like Utah. Join us for the adventure over at Chris's podcast at tipsfromthetopfloor.com. The first installment is episode 260. Have fun. And now, on to the rest of Everest.
This is the Rest of Everest video podcast, an almost unabridged expedition experience. Episode 65, Close Call.
Hey, you.
Hello everyone, welcome back to the Rest of Everest. I'm John Miller, joined again this week, as always for this Tibet 2000 series, by Scott Jacobs out in California. How you doing, Scott?
Doing well, John. Thanks for having me today.
Hope you had a nice holiday.
Oh, actually, I'm having a great holiday. So.
Scott is, as I've said before, Scott's a ranger up at Yosemite National Park, and so he just recently got 2 feet of snow.
I'm looking outside at a winter wonderland, so it's a nice Sierra Christmas. So.
Not too shabby. All right, well, this week we are going to spend a little bit more time up at Swayambudnath, and then as we leave Swayambudnath, something very interesting happens that takes us a little bit of time to process. A little bit unexpected happening there. So anyway, let's head back up to Kathmandu, actually, and let's rejoin this little trek. Here we go. We're getting ready to go to the Swayampu, and I wanted to just quickly...
How many of those orange Fantas did you have?
I wanted to explain something about a really cool thing I'll be doing on this entire trip here. Let me find it here. I have a viewer. His name is Mike Womble. And he, as a child, his family lived out here in Kathmandu in the early 80s, and let's see, let me find it. Here it is. And so as a kid, he lived in Kathmandu, and he had this little American flag that he, as he describes to me, he used to hang out his window. And over the years, as he's grown up, he's now an adult and has a family. He would give just this something to sort of evolve, where he'd give this little flag to people as they go on trips and whatnot. And so it's been to many parts of the world and everything, and it's been to all these different cities. But it's never, as far as I know, it's never returned to Kathmandu. And he did return to Kathmandu, I think, as like when he was 18, but he hasn't been back since. So he's entrusted me with this little flag here. I'm gonna show it to you here. So it's just he's got it all folded up and everything, and I don't want to well, actually, here, let's open it up, take a look at it. You can see what I'm talking about here. Okay, so you can see it's a little American flag. There we go. See? And so what I'm going to be doing here is I am going to be taking it with me on all of my journeys, and the goal is to kind of explain. I'm gonna show people where it's been and everything, and so I can document its travels with me. And then when I get home to Colorado, I'm gonna send it back to them. And So he'll have it again, and he'll have all this video of where it's been. And now it's going to be going up to Lhasa with Scout and I. So I'm excited about that, and it's going to go to base camp. So that's pretty exciting. So it made it here, and hopefully I can hold on to it safely, keep it protected, and hopefully in some way it will protect us as well. So thanks, Mike, and we're going to start taking it places. Here we go.
Yeah, it really had been all over the world, and it was really fun to take it. He had a little piece of paper in there that had a listing of all the different cities it had been to. You just add on to it as he gave it to people. So that's how interactive this podcast is, people. He was a viewer. He just enjoyed the 2003 stuff, and he just contacted me over email. We became friends, and he sent that to me, and so I try to make this podcast as much of a two-way street as possible by emailing back whenever anyone emails me, and it's just a lot of fun. So it was really cool to bring that. So here we are back at the Monkey Temple, Swayambudnath.
Vale, estamos aquí.
What I'm doing here, and Scott will recall, is I was taking a kora, which is you walk around the temple. And that makes you very righteous, as I understand it.
You gain virtue during the journey, and then the difficulty of the journey. And so the koras happen clockwise around the temples.
Always clockwise.
We did many of them.
That's a good luck sign. And this is nose. It is question mark 1. There is Nepali Tibetan language we call 1 like this kind. A Nepali straight. And English like this 1.
I'll explain this guy real quick. All around the temple there are people selling things, and Scott found, I guess you found something there that you liked, and once you look at something, you're pretty much stuck talking to people. And this guy, he was really nice. His name was Vicky, and he gave us a pretty good schooling on all this stuff.
Vicky was great. He we talked a lot about Buddhism, a little bit about the Hindu religion, but he is a Buddhist as a way of life, and just was very happy to explain the temple and his life, and what he thought about Buddhism. So I think here I'm buying a little eyes of Buddha ceramic amulet type thing, or necklace type thing. I don't think I've worn it once, but it was just really kind of nice.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And then if you listen back there, he said, "And what about your friend?" I ended up buying a bunch of prayer flags from him.
Tiger movie game. There's 4 tiger in 20 gold.
I think Vicky was one of the first people that were just truly kind. I mean, you start to get a sense for how the Nepalese are, and he's just great, and just friendly and nice, and just genuinely caring. Of course, he's trying to make a sell, but.
So you are tiger and gold. You are tiger and gold. Choose which one. Do you like gold and tiger? Tiger.
Do you remember this game?
Tiger. Okay, I'm gold. Okay. So this is my first turn. I want to put here. The tiger did come to here. You are tiger. The tiger did like to try to eat gold, right? And if I put here, I mistake, but tiger did jump, then eat. If you have not to put there, I put here, tiger can't eat. Like this. There are 25 room, and 20 gold, 4 tigers, 24, right? So one room, when he finish, they put the whole thing inside. The one room they play up together. You're tiger, I'm gold. And if you finish, they put, you never eat very hard. I catch 3 tiger, but I need to catch 1 tiger. Like this,
And you catch tiger by surrounding it?
Yeah. That is the name, Nepali name we call bakchao. English we call tiger movie game.
Bakchao.
Yeah, it's kind of like a checkers or chess game, and but you can tell there that it's really fun listening, but it is a little bit difficult to understand everything he's saying. And so you just end up smiling a lot. And you know what? I said it before in the podcast, a smile is worth about 1,000 words. Look at all those women in their saris. Saris are so pretty, so colorful, so cool. These are butter lamps. It's all very Buddhist, and then there's, of course, the eyes of Buddha.
The smell is something that I remember every once in a while. Just the smell of those butter lamps, because they're everywhere. And they just kind of permeate everything. It's actually quite pleasant, but Monkey Temple has a specific smell.
Well, yeah, it is. You know, for us, it's pretty exotic, and it's just you go there and it's just like your mind starts spinning a little bit, because it's just there's so much going on. And Vicky here, in addition to selling the stuff that he was selling up above, he actually carves these stones here.
Yeah, he's an artist. This is someone else's shop, but he does work out of the back and sells for this gentleman, and he was showing us his ware.
And we told him here that we weren't going to buy any of this, but he didn't care. He was just so proud of his work. He wanted to show it to us because he liked us.
Different house, 3 day, 5 day. There I'm making the 7
I think we hung out for maybe half an hour.
Yeah, after he had already made a sale with us, you know. We bought stuff right away, and then he just kind of hung out with us, telling us, showing us all this all this stuff, and look at that, the intricacy of his work there.
This one, first drawing, then making. Like this.
Do you have many tools?
Huh?
Do you have many tools?
Yeah, I have many. I with hammer, the cutting, you know. First this. First drawing. First drawing. And then this is cutting.
And then you go back through.
Yeah. You see, Buddha Sakti same. Fair. And this mantra.
It's very indicative of the people here in Kathmandu, is that they really spend a lot of time with you.
But here is very.
Well, do you remember what they say? It's the Nepalese way. It's the way of Nepal. Sit, have tea.
You need to export.
Yeah. When I spanning whole thing, they don't buy. But my mouth, you know, my sound here very hard. You know, when you speak.
Yeah.
But they don't looking. So this is how I buy.
Well, also just life in general, you know, the pace of life is slower there. You know, there's no need for them to rush around and do stuff. And you'll see people in the, you know, future episodes and stuff just sitting around, just standing around watching other people doing things, and it's a much slower way of life. So here we're entering a temple next to the stupa. Oh, this was a monastery, actually, excuse me. And you have to take your shoes off to enter. In those cases there behind the glass are all of these golden statues. Different Buddhas. And those right there, those colorful floral looking things are all butter. They're all statues carved out of butter.
Butter sculptures.
Yep, and then of course those are butter lamps. This is something that you will see a lot of in all of our footage.
You know, actually the heat coming off those is pretty intense as well. You stand in front of 300 butter lamps and it gets pretty warm.
I'd forgotten all about that, yep. Really, yeah.
It's, you know, Swayambudnath was just sensory overload almost because of the smell and the feel and just, you know, I don't know. It was great.
And
very colorful and
totally not comprehending what people are doing.
This is our friend from the store. It's been 4 years.
Yeah.
And we just ran into him here at Swayambudnath, and it's good to see him again. So it's nice to see you. Very nice to see you. Where's your store?
Yeah.
Here. Let me look at your store.
Okay, that is
so his name is Kumar,
How
And
lucky I was. I had a real pleasure.
he's
by
such a
meeting
nice
you twice.
guy.
Yes.
I just love listening to him. But he had been in our film, and I wanted to kind of show my appreciation for. It was just one of my favorite moments in the film. Actually, at the credits of the film.
Please, no.
I'm not
So I wanted to buy
This
something
is my
from him,
real
something
pleasure.
big.
Otherwise, how can I make you please buy
Fanta.
Okay.
Fanta orange.
Ah, no.
Make me please buy for you.
Fanta?
Okay.
So I'm back here in this the shopkeeper shop, and I'm gonna buy something from him because he's been in the film, and he's been we've had so many good laughs, Ben and I, over the past few years by looking at his footage. So I'm going to try to say thank you by buying something in his shop. I think it's the only right thing to do. And it was nice. He just came up to me, and it was a very familiar face right away. It was very good to see him. And his store has gotten much different. It's much higher end looking. So hopefully it's not going to cost me too much. But it's a karma thing. So it's just fun to see him again.
It actually wasn't his store. He had, I think, Scott, correct me if I'm wrong, his son died or something like that, or his son was...
His son was sick. I think he ran into some financial trouble. And
he had to
no
sell
longer
his
had a
house.
shop.
I think. And he had to sell, or maybe he had to mortgage his house or something, and so he had to sell a shop. So he's working at someone else here. But I wanted to buy a singing bowl, and I want to buy a really nice old one, and they are very different qualities. So I want to buy a really high quality one. So he's showing me here a really high. I think that's the one that I purchased, and
You have to enjoy according to the spiritual point of view.
Beautiful sound.
yeah.
First of all, you have to follow the right path
To follow the right path.
by yourself. How would be possible? First of all, there is more necessary to pay attention, to concentrate your mind properly according to the spiritual point of view.
He's talking about how
Exercises.
important meditation is in daily life.
Eyes and heart. Then
And with Kumar, it was,
so
we were just talking about right and wrong and good and bad and the nature of people. He's, I don't know, very nice. Very talkative.
Really interesting guy, very passionate
inner
guy.
happy,
That's a better word. Definitely passionate.
making the violence once in a blue moon in the life by doing the meditation. But I don't have that much capacity in order to,
We also talked about the senselessness of violence and about some of the Maoists. There was
You don't have that much.
some killings the day before we were here, and we were talking about that and how senseless it all was. And then he talked about Saddam Hussein
Otherwise,
and
I will
how
help you by hook or by crook.
senseless everything was, revolving around, him being executed. And, here we are in Kathmandu, and, we're talking about Saddam Hussein and the everything around that. It was a fascinating conversation. Too long to put into the podcast, but so anyway, so here we've left, and this is of course why it's called the Monkey Temple. There are families of monkeys all over the place.
This is an interesting example of wildlife living in the city. They're not really friendly. They're just doing their monkey thing, doing their wildlife thing, and we kind of live around them. At least that's the impression I got.
So these steps here are one of the ways that you can get up to the Swayambudnath, because it's up on the hill. It's really high up on this hill, and so these stairs go all the way up, and it's really striking because there you can see the stupa up at the very top of these never-ending stairs, and I'm only about halfway down at this point. But all the way down the lower end of the stairs, there's people selling things. And at the very bottom, you can catch a taxi to get back to your hotel. And this is where something very peculiar happens.
I get two. We need more rope. We'll take that.
Yeah, he was waiting to taxi him, I guess.
So he at first wanted to put us into a taxi full of like 3 other big guys.
Well, the taxi's empty at this point, but I'm telling him there are 2 of us.
No, that red taxi before he wanted to put us in.
Go.
So the guy is leaning through the window, basically kind of yelling at our driver. You can hear Scott saying, "Let's just go."
This was interesting because, you know, he asked me if I needed taxi and I said yes. And I explained that there are 2. You know, of course, John and myself, and I get in. I start to get into the red taxi, and 4 other guys jump in.
Yeah.
And they kind of had malice in their eyes. I don't know.
Yeah, let's get into a car with like 5 other guys.
Interesting. So yeah, I realized this is not a spot that I wanted to be in.
Yeah.
You know, separate from John with 4 other guys going Lord knows where.
Nice. Good.
Interesting that he was belligerent. He was belligerently demanding money from our taxi driver.
And then we finally make our escape, because it really did feel like we were making an escape.
So we've transitioned to rickshaw because our taxi started burning.
Our taxi was smoking.
Our taxi was smoking, so we jumped out, and we were in a place
first.
Didn't totally want to. Wasn't a tourist area, so we caught this rickshaw, and this poor rickshaw driver has got 400 pounds of dead weight in the back of his rickshaw.
More than 4. I've been eating a lot.
We're not exactly the lightest tourists on the planet.
We're both over 6 feet tall.
He gets a tip.
I think this driver's about 12.
He was
12
tiny.
years old.
So anyway, yeah, it did feel like an escape. I'm not sure what was happening there. It might not have been bad, but it sure did feel like something bad was going down there.
Like, in retrospect, I think they were probably just angry that they were missing out on a fare. But I don't understand why those other guys got into the taxi. And they left no room for you, and they left you up and down. They knew that you were coming with us. So.
And you could hear you saying, just go.
I was a little bit worried that I was going to get robbed, but that might be too much caution.
But that's the only time I've ever felt threatened. Yeah.
Hey, thank you, my friend.
Our taxi breaks down, and here comes this rickshaw. And he is huffing and puffing at this point. Our ride's over, and he's been working.
And you gave him a really big tip, as I recall.
Yeah, I don't remember how many rupees he asked for. I gave him double.
It was like, he probably drove us, let's say, probably like 2 or 3 miles, maximum. But he got like what accounts to like probably like a $40 tip in value. So that was good. Well, cool. Well, next week we are going to spend again some more time in Tamil. This podcast is going to be a little bit more in depth in certain areas like Kathmandu, and also certain areas once we're in Tibet, because that's really what you guys have asked for. So I was really trying to deliver a lot of detail on certain areas. So it's going to be a few more episodes before we get up into Tibet. But as you'll recall, it took 11 or 12 or 13 episodes to get to base camp in 2003. So it really isn't all about getting to Everest. It's a journey, and there's a lot that happens. So you guys are really taking this with Scott and myself. You're really along for the ride with us. So that's about it for this week. Might not put an episode out next week after the New Year's holiday. I haven't decided yet whether I'll be able to do that or not. So we'll just see how it goes. So thanks so much, Scott. I really appreciate your time.
Thanks, John. Thanks, everyone.
And we will maybe see you next week, if not the next week. Thanks so much. The rest of Everest is downloaded all over the world every week. If you enjoy watching and would like to show your support, then take a look at my website,
Aside from having lots of additional blog entries from the expedition, updated every week, there's this little donation button on every page. Now, many of you have pressed that button, and your generous contributions are helping to cover my hosting fees. If you haven't donated but would like to, then just contribute any amount. In return, I'll give you access to the video and audio dispatches I sent out while we were actually at Everest. It's pretty interesting stuff. Contribute $25 or more, and I'll even throw in an iPod-compatible version of the film Everest: The Other Side. That's the project the entire podcast here is based on. As always, our announcer is Marlon May, and our music is provided by Wendy Wu. Check her out at wendywu.com. Thanks so much, everyone, and we'll see you next week.
Thank you for watching The Rest of Everest. For more information on the expedition, please visit therestofeverest.com.